mastermind. So this is the fearless action hour. So does anyone have anything they would like to talk about around being fearless?
I have something that I can bring up.
Yeah,
that I was thinking of today. So after class last night, do you know Abraham Hicks at all? Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Well, now it's a her, but I don't even know. So anyway.
Yes, know the name.
So yeah, so one of the things I was listening to on a podcast, which you guys inspired me to do as well, was while I was walking on my treadmill, was how it said we don't have to improve the condition so that we feel better. So we don't have to improve on something so that we feel better. Our job is to feel better so that the condition gets improved. And so I really sat with that today, and I found it very enlightening, and being able to work through a lot of things after listening to that, I guess.
Yeah. So how will you support yourself in feeling better so that your situation also shifts?
I need to do a lot more self-care, like a lot more myself stuff.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily self-care, but myself stuff.
Yeah.
I guess.
What would that look like, Sarah?
I haven't worked out in over a week, and I realized how I've been struggling the past week. So that's probably a big part of it, because that's one of my things that I very much enjoy doing and is very grounding for me. And I also haven't done a lot of things that I normally would be doing. So just that kind of stuff. So I'm out of alignment.
Yeah, getting recommitted to yourself.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to check in with you later and see if you are.
Okay.
Because now that you know I'm going to be calling you, you're more likely going to do it.
Yeah. Well, part of it's being on here.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to pause. Okay. So we are at the top of the second Fearless Action Hour. And we had a discussion going with Sarah. So Sarah, do you want to continue on that same thought, or does anyone else have something they want to bring to the table? You're good, Sarah? Beck?
I got words. Okay. So Foxy, your description, right, is to take fearless action here, where we get to move beyond our fear and get things done on purpose with purpose. So what is something that what is something that you've put off for too long that you can be doing bite-sized things for, because that's where we can really move into going beyond our fears. So Foxy, what would you say to someone that's like, oh, I've been wanting to write this blog or this email or this thing, this newsletter, whatever the case is, I've been wanting to do this thing for months, and I haven't even taken an action step towards accomplishing it. What would you tell them about being fearless and moving beyond that?
Well, I would actually start with a question, and I would ask them, what about it is scary? So what about it is where is the resistance coming up? Is it in designing it? Is it in what they're going to say? Is it in they're worried about what other people are going to think? What is it that scares them? Is there an aspect that isn't scary, right? Is there an aspect that's in their comfort zone, and can they start there? So that's where I would break it down. So where can you start? Where's the least scary point that you can put your foot in? Because usually once your foot's in, you're good to go. It's just that it's from going from stop to start. That is where the fear gets us. So any kind of, what is that baby step that you can take that will get you going. So that's me.
I love it. That'll give me something to ruminate on during the time because I've been procrastinating on starting my Healthy Headspace blog. So that was for me. Thank you.
You are welcome. Anytime. All right.
Beck, have you done a stretch, risk, or die yet?
No.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's what that is. You should. That's what, it's the same thing as what Foxy said. You should.
You should it on me.
You
I
could.
gotta wipe that shit off my face.
I recommend it.
You
Thank
could. You could do it.
I highly recommend it with a lot of love behind it. Okay, I'm
I
going to do
encourage.
some stuff.
All right.
Love it.
All right. We are back at the bottom of the second Fearless Action Hour masterminding with Becky P. And waiting to see if Sarah will be coming back with us. But Beck, do you want to continue on what we were talking about earlier? Or would you like to move on?
So I initially wasn't even thinking about myself. And then I was like, wait, what am I putting off for months or, how for length of time, I'll say, but it's been months. Like I had the idea of, even with the name of it, Healthy Headspace is the blog that I'm going to be putting on my website to really be focused on like keeping updates there instead of only having that on social media. I want to actually have blog posts to really go in depth because I love to deep dive in conversations about stuff, but I don't necessarily want to just make a post and then it goes in la la land. So that's the reasoning behind it. But now I'm like, duh, I need to scrub that all against what we just learned about in the strategy hour. And we're implementing with, first I'm like, oh, but how do I start a blog on there? What systems do I use? Right? Like the planning stage and the prep I wasn't even thinking about that stuff. I was jumping steps from what we were just talking about this last week about, building and doing it intentionally and how it can be really supportive. So I don't know. I think that I was more the fear around getting it started and like, ooh, what's the right way to start a blog? And I don't consider myself to be like a grammatically correct person. As we've talked about how, we like to get our things checked before it goes out. Susan and I usually check each other's like verbiage to make sure it makes sense, all of that. But then if I'm writing a blog, like I don't have anyone designated to help me do that and support me in that. So those are the fear thoughts, I guess, that probably go with, why haven't I started it yet? Why do I keep talking about it? And take some action.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and you can actually go to your posts, right? Because they're all there in Facebook. You just have to scroll down and find them and just copy and paste and have that start your blog. Yeah. And then from now on, you could do it, however you want, so that you're not having to write content, over and over and over again. You just use it over and over and over again. So, so you already have built it. You just haven't constructed it in that way. So this would be like a new room in the house, right? Like we were talking about that. It wouldn't be a whole new house. It would be, it's not even a new room. It's redecorating the room, or it's repurposing the room, or it's putting two functions in the same room. Like it's a guest room and an office now.
Like you're in my bedroom and my office, my stand-up office.
So me too. You are in my bedroom and my office. So, so it's not that the groundwork isn't there, right? Because it already has resonated with you. It's already in alignment with you, but it's using the same information in another way. And
Mhm.
and that's your foot in the door. That's your small step, because you've already done it. You've already put it out there, right? So yes, you could start there, and you already have a lot of content that you could go back and use, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I guess the other thing too is that I guess I'm waiting too, like the waiting is there, and it is just kind of ruminating on the thought of it, because my rebrand has been in process for months. And like the launch of my new website is this month, which then tells me, oh, well, then I can have, a blog attached to that. And it makes sense then that it's like when I launch my website, I'm actually announcing the launch of the blog that is attached to the website.
Yeah. And the blog can have a lot of posts on it. It's not like
Right.
I'm launching the blog and this is my first blog. It can
True.
have multiple posts already on it.
Right.
know?
Because they do that for
So-
podcasts. I know that podcasts, like now they train people to like have it stacked up and ready to go, so that when people start, they actually can kind of binge on it to get
Yeah.
a taste and then know that they really like the content.
Yeah, because if you're going to do this massive marketing campaign of, hey, this is my new website, I started a blog, someone goes to check out your blog, then they only have one thing to read and
Right.
they're on, but if they have multiple subjects they can look at, if they have, they can get enticed by multiple things that are already there. Right.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
your people are going to like it because they've already seen it once, but they most likely don't remember, right? Because there's been time and stuff. So you can, so they can, you already know it resonates.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the thought of like intentionally going to my social media, finding the ones that performed well, that there was great interaction on, and using those as like the starters and the basis to find like the subjects or the categories, I guess, that like you said, I already know are proven to be good topics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
And then you can elaborate or you can talk more, it all depends on how long of a post you want,
Yeah, I really thought of like this idea and like how to do it from Andy Frisellus, which is the guy that created the 75 hard program that I went through this whole last year. Like he does that. It's like a post every day, kind of like what you would put on social media, only it's just like a short blog. And you can just go back and see all of it. So instead of it being on social media, it is on his blog, which I loved that idea.
Yeah. And then you can, and when you want to post it on social media, you share your blog,
Right.
you could do some little teaser. And then if you want to read the rest, go read it on my blog. And then you're sending people to your blog.
Repurpose.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you. I already feel much more equipped to go beyond my fears and take some action and get it done.
Good. I'm so glad. So glad. Oh, let me pause it. Hello, we are back at the bottom of the third Fearless Action Hour, and I've got Beck and Sarah here with me. What would we like to mastermind, ladies? Do we want to continue on any of the subjects we have been talking about, or is there something new that came up?
I started listening to my podcast again because it was so good. I shared it in the group actually, because it talks a lot about permission. I don't know if it's accessible because I did it through my specific app, but I guess people could probably even look it up through any app or podcast player, but just talking about permission to feel something even before what they think they want happens. Like I don't know, as an example, I want to lose 20 pounds, then I'll feel better about myself. Like, well, why don't you give yourself permission to feel better about yourself before that happens? Because then you're getting yourself into alignment to be able to then receive having that actually happen kind of thinking.
I like
Sending out that vibrational frequency into the universe. Or once I get this car, you know, I'll feel better about myself, or I'll enjoy life more. But giving yourself permission to do it even before that happens, so that you get yourself into receiving mode.
I like that. Thank you. So how would you feel if you did self-care and then getting yourself in that mode and then you're receiving self-care?
I mean, I think I would feel great if I got to do self-care. I definitely know that I would be able to. I mean, my biggest thing is being able to have a thought and finishing it kind of thing, not this just chaotic. That's why I think last night we talked about focus is one of my things lately, like just being able to focus on one thing for longer than 50 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it would be great. It's setting the intention of getting it and then doing it when I can.
Yeah. And anything can be turned into self-care. Like, I hate cleaning, but doing the cleaning today was self-care because it makes me feel so happy to have my floor swept and the counters clean and you know, the stove clean, right? And it's probably not going to last very long. But in that moment, it was done, you know, and I did it. So it was self-care for me. So even if you're doing something with the girls, or you're at the grocery store, or you're doing something else, it's a shift in your mindset and your thought process, and it can turn into self-care. So I'm going to pause